Okay. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Facebook decided to have a glitch on me. I'm here now. Let me know when you come in. Again, I'm a little late coming on. Facebook decided to have a little glitch. Didn't fully make my video go live. But I'm here now. Looks like everything's working. Say hi if you come in. I'll give it another minute. See if we get anyone else on. I hope everyone's staying cool in this hot weather. And I will apologize in advance. I am in the basement and I am near the furnace room, and the air conditioning has been running all day long pretty much. So you may hear it kick on and off, and I do apologize for that. Hi Shannon, hi Gay. All right, I'm gonna get started. So I am going to be looking at Antinous' 100 Days of Backgrounds, and we are going to work on them and kind of recreate some of his creations that he shows in the 100 Days of Backgrounds. These are the 3 examples, day 1, day 2, and day 3. These are the ones I've done with my supplies. We're going to recreate again tonight. They're not going to be exactly the same because I've used some of the supplies, so we're going to use other parts of the supplies and see what we can come up with tonight. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yes? Okay, I'm going to turn my mic up. Let me know if it's too loud. I'm hoping that it's working now. I did have a Facebook glitch. It said it was starting my video, but it kind of froze. So I did have to go out of Facebook and come back in. So I'm hoping everything is working. Hi, Carolyn. So if everybody can hear me, I'm going to get started, okay? And again, sorry I got started a few minutes late. It was the Facebook glitch. It froze on me. I had to go out and come back in. Okay? So what I'm working on is I am working on some chipboard. I took this chipboard and I cut it with my cinch stack cutter and made some tags. Okay? Perfect. Thank you, Shannon. All right. So again, in case you missed it, we are doing the 100 Days of Backgrounds that Antinous does from Stamperia. We've got day 1, day 2, and day 3. I am going to be recreating them along with you guys tonight. You can play along if you have supplies, or just watch and see what we're doing. I'm fairly new at doing the mixed media, so I'm getting into it, so bear with me. It's not that it's a hard thing to do. If you don't like to get messy, mixed media is not for you. I am going to be getting very messy tonight. I have wet cloths, dry cloths, tubs of water. I've got everything around me ready to go. Okay, I am using a lot of supplies tonight. I will try to hold them in the camera so that if you would like to know what I'm using, you could maybe take a screenshot and look. There is a lot of supplies. I'm not sure that I'm going to list them all. If there's something specific, you can ask a question and I will go back and I'll answer it to the best of my knowledge, but I will try to show you everything that I'm using in the camera so that you can use it or something similar that you have in your stash. Okay? So for tag number 1, yeah, Carolyn, I think it's going to be. So for tag number 1, I'm going to take one of my tags. I'm using our Allegro Indian Turquoise paint. And I'm just going to paint my tag. Give it a little shake. All right. I'm just going to squirt it directly onto my tag. That was not a good sound. I apologize. All right. So first off, we're just going to paint our tag. I'm just going to lift it up here. A little bit of that paint goes a long way. It's wonderful paint. It's very opaque. Okay. You can watch later, Barbara. Yes, you can just go back and re-watch the live as many times as you wish. Okay. So there we go. So we're giving it a layer. This is going to be our base color and coating for our tag. Just make sure I've got all the little spots covered. There we go. Okay, got my water off to the side. My wet rag for my hands. Okay. So we're going to dry this. Okay, we want to make sure it's dry before we go over top of it with anything else. Just using my Ranger Heat It tool. I find it works great. I apologize for the noise. If you only have a heat gun and that's all you have, I would maybe just be careful and make sure that you're moving it a lot, because the heat coming out of your heat gun for embossing is actually much stronger forced air, and it gets very hot and you don't want to burn it. Okay, so I've got that dried up, mostly dried. Still see a little bit of shine there. Okay, and then what he does is okay, so that was the Allegro, and again that was the Indian Turquoise. Love that color. Love, love, love the color. And then we're going to take a stencil. I apologize, I'm not sure what stencil this is called. This is one from Heather's stash that she gave me to use tonight. I do believe it is a Stamperia. I could be wrong though, but it does look like a Stamperia. Okay, I'm actually going to, I believe this is the right side because that's how all the writing is on it. I'm actually going to flip it because I want to use this image here. Oh, that's not going to work. I want to use this image, and if I use it the right way, then it's kind of the wrong way to use it. So I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to use the back side of it. I'm going to place it here. Now for this step, we are going to use some volume paste. Okay, so just a texture paste, a volume paste. The one that Heather gave me actually was dried out, so I'm just using some Ranger for now. The one that she gave me actually came in this 3-piece set from Stamperia. It has the glossy gel, the crackle paste, and the volume paste. Okay, but I had to substitute, so I'm just going to use my own texture paste. I've got my trusty Stamperia spatula. Just going to dig some out of the container, line this up where I want it, and we're going to put on the texture paste through the stencil. Now I don't want mine to be super thick, but I also don't want it to be super thin because you want it to have some texture. Does not need to be perfect. The more imperfect, the better. Just kind of putting it over the spots where I'd like it. And then when I peel off my stencil, I'm going to try to peel straight up so that I don't muck up my design. Okay, so it's as easy as that. I always scrape off my extra paste from my stencil. Here, I'll do it on my mat here. Because all that paste can go back into the container and we can use it again. Do not want to waste it. I've got some press and seal on my container. I always squeeze the air out, put the lid back on. Helps with drying out. Just a little tidbit if no one knew that. Hi Sam. I am going to place that in my tub of water because I don't want that to dry on the stencil. Now here, I'm just going to clean this up. Got my little cloth here. Wipe it off my spatula so it doesn't harden. Give a quick wipe to my work surface. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to dry this. Now I don't have any this time, but sometimes you'll have some of your paste over the edge. I like to just, while it's wet, take my finger along the edge and just make sure there's nothing hanging over. You can always snip it away later, but I like to do it now and then I don't have to snip it away. Sorry, I have to turn my heat gun on again. This is definitely going to be a regular tonight. I hope it's not too loud. The Ranger Heat It tool is not a very loud tool. I do like that about it as well. But we do need to dry our layers for everything to work. So we've painted our background, got our base going. We've used some paste through a stencil. That's feeling pretty dry already. I didn't do it super thick. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to show you, I apologize, this is big, because I just brought a tub of water. I do not have a sink right close to me down here in my craft room. It's behind my desk on the other side. I just take this like silicone little scrubby and I just give it a quick scrub with that. Rub it away. Okay, so it's all gone. It was still wet, so it came off pretty easy. And then I'll take my cloth, my dry cloth, and I'll just dry it off. I'm just going to move this. That is where I'll be putting my stencils. When I say I'm throwing them in the water, I just usually keep a tub beside me so that I can get them in there right away. Okay. As you can see, Heather's used this stencil. It does have some blue on it. It's not hurting anything. It doesn't ruin the stencil. You can still use it. Sometimes they just hold a little bit of the color. Okay, so now what we're going to do with this is another technique. I am going to line this stencil back up where I had it. Okay, so I can see all my, and I can feel my paste through it again. And then what we're going to do is a technique where we stamp through a stencil. Okay, I am going to use Archival ink for this. Reason being, it is a waterproof ink. You can see it does say waterproof. That way when I go over top of it with other products, it's not going to smear, bleed, rub off. It's going to stay. Okay? I am using a small stamp from this sorry, it's got a glare. This LDRS texture it stamp. Excuse me, you could use any text stamp, any texture stamp, anything that you want. This is what I had handy, so I grabbed it. I did get that at the store, and I just used, sorry, I should tell you if you didn't see, I used this stamp here. It's just got some texture on it. Doesn't say anything really or anything, just some texture. And I'm going to use that through my stencil. So I'm just going to ink it up. I'm going to hold my stencil down, and I am going to stamp over everywhere that I put paste. Okay, so it's not going to look pretty on the back side here. That's okay. I'm going to just kind of keep going over it because I would like that to get through my stencil onto that white paste. Okay. So there's that. And again, lift that up. And now you can see, I'm going to throw that in my water. Now you can see that it has put some of those spots randomly through that stencil and nowhere else. It's all on the paste. Okay? So I'm going to dry again. We want to be dry. And while I'm drying, I'm going to work on getting some of that ink off of the stamp. Okay, so give that another quick dry. Okay, just give it a little test. I have no ink coming off on my fingers, so it is dry. Okay, and here I am trying to rub a waterproof stamp off with water. Alright, I just have some stamp cleaner here. I'm just going to spray on to my mat, rub it around. There we go. That's much better. Alright, just give that a quick wipe, put it away. Alright, so that's dry. So now we're going to use our stencil again. So I do have to rinse it off quickly. And actually, the water's not going to work, as I just said. Again, I am new at this. Bear with me. I am trying. I'm going to dry this off because that's not going to work. I do need my stamp cleaner to clean this ink off of the stencil. Just give it a spray, give it a rub. Hopefully I get this clean. You know why it's not coming exactly clean? Because I'm not using the right cleaner, ladies. Where did I put? Here it is. Okay, so this is my, my archival ink cleaner. We do sell this in the store. My dauber is gone. There is supposed to be a foam dauber on the end of this. Mine has died. I've had this a long time. So I just kind of squeeze some out. I'm going to give it a good scrub. Alright. And then, so again, the archival cleaner. I don't know if we're going to get through all three of these tags. I better get moving here. Alright, so we cleaned that up. Now that archival cleaner is a little bit for lack of a better term, I don't really know how else to say it. It is kind of greasy and oily. You could see it on the stencil. So I'm just gonna, this is just rubbing alcohol. I think it's 70% rubbing alcohol. I just have it in a little container, and I'm just gonna spray both sides because I do want to remove that residue off of my stencil before I use it again. I'm not 100% sure that it would affect anything, but to me, you don't want anything kind of oily on there and reusing that again. So we're gonna put it back on one more time. We're gonna line that up. I can kind of feel it pop into place with all of my paste. Okay, so that's back on there. Best I can get. If it's not perfect, not a big deal. It's mixed media. We can have some fun. And now we're going to use some gloss gel. So again, this is a pack of 3. It has the gloss gel, the volume paste, and the crackle paste. And I'm going to take some of this. Oh, sorry, just dropped my. And we're going to go over that again with the gel paste so that that kind of seals everything in. This doesn't need to be super thick, but we do want to make sure that we get all of our areas. Spread that out. Again, picking up the extra. There is no color or anything in that, so I can put it back into my jar. I will go and probably put some press and seal on this as well to help it from drying out. Okay, I'm going to dip that in my water, wipe this off right away because I do not want that to dry on there. Again, straight up. Barely anything on there. Going to put it in the water and dry again. Should be clear when it's dry. Now here on the edge, you can see that little piece. Here, how can I do this? Right? Oh, it kind of flipped up itself. So up here, you can see that little piece hanging over the edge. I just rub that off. It'll come off. Okay? And you can see I was not perfect with my clear. I kind of went in some more spots with it, and that's okay. We want that. All right. Now we are going to use the wrong one. We are going to use some of the Vintage Patina water-based for an aged effect. It's this one's gray. I'm just going to put a little bit out onto my mat, and I am going to, believe it or not, I am going to use my finger, and I am going to go around and get this all worked in. You can paint it on. I'm just going to get messy. I am going to concentrate more around my edges because I want it around my edges. I do have to get it a little thicker over here where the paste is because I do want it to get down to the bottom. Okay. And again, doesn't need to be super pretty. I'm going to take and I'm going to rub over this as well. Don't worry if it's uneven. I'm going to show you why. He actually paints this on. But I find we're going to just wipe it off. So I find it's kind of a waste to just paint the whole thing. Okay, so there's that. I just have a silicone mat down here that I don't care if it gets messy, but I try to clean it up a little bit here so I don't have a huge mess for you guys. So again, the vintage patina from Stamperia. Mine's the gray. Okay, so then we're gonna take a baby wipe. I don't think it's a wax. This says for aged effect and it says water-based. I do have some waxes here. You probably could use the waxes as well. I don't see why not. I'm just trying to go kind of by the videos. Like I said, I'm kind of just learning, so we're going to wipe where we want this to be a little cleaner. Okay. Find a clean spot here. I want it clean, but I don't want to clean it all because I kind of like having those streaks in there. Again, personal preference, but I do like having the streaks. It does kind of give it a little bit of an effect, and I do like that. So now we're going to dry that again. Okay, just going to take my cloth here lightly. Just try to get a little bit more of that out of that. There we go. Okay. Now, I don't think I need to for this one, just by the way I've done it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go around the edges with my Distress Oxide Black Soot ink right to the very edges to make sure I have all those edges done. You can go in as far or as little as you want with that. Okay, just use a blending brush. Okay. And then that is that tag done. Okay, so first one I made, second one I made. Okay, so that's tag number 1. Some different techniques that we used for that. Get rid of those. All right, tag number 2. This one was kind of fun and interesting. So we're going to take our tag, and this time I'm using the Allegro paint in the brick red, it's called. Okay, we're going to paint it on. Oh, sorry, no, I did this backwards. We are actually going to use the black matte first. Okay, so Stamperia Black Matte Super Base. We're going to paint this all black. So I'm going to make sure my paintbrush is clean of that blue turquoise color. And I'm going to dry it a bit because I don't really want any water in it. Okay, so again, I'm just going to squirt it right on and paint. I should have pre-painted these, I guess. Would have allowed me to go a little quicker. Okay. I am enjoying this so far. I think I will, I've been playing with it a little bit in some of the cards that I've made. So I'm trying to kind of incorporate it in. So there's my black. Again, we need to dry it. So again, apologies for the sound of my dryer. Doesn't take long. Okay, so as you can see here, you can still kind of see some shine. I just want to make sure that shine's gone. Okay, so all of my shine's gone. It's nice and matte black now. So that means it's dry. Now when Antonis does his, he actually uses, we're going to do a little bit of resist with this one. And with the resist, Antonis uses, I think he uses like a hair gel that it's like a thick hair gel that he uses for his hair. I don't have any thick hair gel, and I can't for the life of me find my Vaseline. I had a little small container of Vaseline somewhere, and Spray 9, perfect. Thanks for the tip, Sheila. She says Spray 9 works well for cleaning stencils as well. I use my rubbing alcohol a lot too. It's just tonight I have to keep them wet because I'm not going to get to cleaning them right away, and I don't want to take the time to clean them. Okay, so what I had in my stash to use for a resist was my Distress Micro Glaze. That's what I have in my craft room that I could think of to use as a resist, and it did work. Okay, so here where you see the black coming through, that's where I put my resist, and it does resist the paint. So I just dip my finger in, and I'm just gonna make some random resists. Okay, wherever I see fit. Okay, so as you can see, anywhere that you see the kind of the glossy, that's where the resist is. This I thought was really neat. So now I'm going to take my Brick Red and I'm just going to, again, paint. As soon as I get my paintbrush clean here. Okay. Cleaned. Dried. All right. Again, I'm just spraying it right onto the tag. I don't know where my palette went. Okay, and we're just going to paint this on. And you're going to see again, dry. So for next one, I'll try to be a little bit better prepared. I will try to, the next time I do this, I'll try to let you know kind of what I'm going to be working with, so that if you want to play along, that you can. Okay, so that's pretty dry. Again, good old baby wipe. And we're gonna rub, and anywhere that resist was, that paint is going to come off very easily. As you can see, where I've wiped and where I've had that, it's all come right off. Kind of looks like a murder scene here. Let me clean that up. All right, there we go. All right, so you can see where I've had it. All right, now on this one I did stencil. I'm not going to bother with the stencil because I'd like to try to get to the third one. But I did use the stencil again. But one other part to this that he did do, I'm not going to use any of the paste. However, I am going to use another stencil. I'm going to use this All in Create stencil, number 248. It's called Moth's Chaos. Okay, it's from the store. And I am going to use, again, my archival ink. And I am going to pick some of these images to stencil on here. I really like that one. I just have these inexpensive little blending brushes for these, for my different inks, because I don't want to mix my archival ink with my dye inks. I'm going to use this splatter. And group of threes, right? So let's do this heart. Kind of messy heart. Okay. So we're gonna do that. I am going to actually just spray this with my alcohol because it's still wet. And as you can see, it's coming right up. And it wipes right off. Okay. So there's that. Now we are going to take, actually I better dry this first. Give it a quick dry. And then to tone this down so that it's not so harsh of the brick red and the archival black, we're going to take some of the Ivory Allegro. And I'm just going to put a little bit out on my mat here. Just a tiny bit. I'm going to take a stencil brush. These are a little bit firmer and kind of natural bristles. Dry brush, get some on there, and then we're going to take it and we're just going to do swipes. My tag's bowing a little bit here, so it's catching. Okay, and if you don't like an area, I just blend it in a little better with my finger if I got a little bit too hard there. Okay. And tone it down. We don't even need to dry that because It's barely any paint at all. Okay, so there's tag number 2. And now we'll get to tag number 3. And this one uses rice paper, paste. We use some glossy transparent paste. Oh, and somehow I got orange paint on there, see? We'll just wash that off. Look at that. All right, done. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna take my rice paper glue. Stamperia rice paper glue. Okay, dip in. We're going to coat the entire tag with some glue. Doesn't have to be thick, but you want a decent coat because you want your rice paper to stick to it. Okay. And then I have my Stamperia. This is the name of my rice paper, and it looks like this. I've used a piece of it. Okay, tonight we're going to use this part. I'm gonna lay it on there. I'm gonna line it up with the edge, then I have a little less work to do. Okay, put it on there. If it wrinkles, no worries, it's part of the charm. Lay it on there. I am going to go over top of the rice paper with the rice paper glue. That seals it so that we can do things on top. Okay, and then we're gonna, I think I've got that all on top of there. There we go. Again, I've got my trusty press and seal. Squeeze out the air. Any rice paper will do, decoupage paper, anything you've got in your stash. Oh, and I can see I need my rice glue again. Rice paper glue. The edge of my tag didn't quite have enough glue on it under here. It's pulling up. So I'm just going to put a little more glue on that, top and bottom. I think I did that when I lifted it. Okay, there we go. Oh, a little more here. And that's why I say you want enough on there that's going to hold your paper, but you don't need a ton. Okay, that should be good. Now I'm going to dry it. Give it a quick dry, shouldn't take too long. There we go. And then I'm going to take a sanding block. Mine is just a know where it is. Okay, I'll have to get my old one out. Just a nail buffing block. It's I've had this forever. We're just gonna take it. Rice paper isn't necessarily what you use for origami. No, it's kind of a, if you see here, Barb, I don't know how well you can see, but you can see through it. If you look at the back of it, it's kind of like a, they also call it like a mulberry paper. Okay, so it's like a natural fiber paper. And I used the rice paper glue. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is sand the edges of this. And that is going to take my rice paper and give me a nice clean edge around my tag. Just like this. Doesn't all come off, just give it a little bit of a help there. All right, now for this, we're gonna take and we're gonna go over the entire, sorry, I'm gonna get rid of that paper. We're gonna go over, I'm going to use this 3D gloss gel. This is a transparent, flexible, thick gloss medium. This one in particular is from Art Basics. This is the one that Heather gave me. And I'm gonna open it up and I am going to put, oh, wait a minute. Okay, it does say transparent. All right, this is the one that I use. So this is going to go clear. I'm going to trust it. We're gonna go all over the top of this with a nice, decently thick coating. Okay. Does not need to be perfect. Just get some on there. Okay. And then I'm going to take the little wood grain tool that we have from Stamperia. I don't know that it says that it has a name, but you can buy these in the store. Okay. Just a little rubber. I don't know how well you can see on the camera. There it is. You can see the wood grain in it. Okay. So we're just going to take it and you want to rock this. So I'm going to start with it down and then I'm going to pull up and roll down. And what it does is it gives you, okay, that's a little bit thick there, but we'll figure that out. I'm just going to do that. Okay, so what we want is a texture. Okay, I'm going to throw that in the water. All right, and again, I like to just give my sides a little bit of a clean while it's wet. It's just easier. Wipe them down a little bit. Okay, and then we're just going to dry that. And all we're using this gloss one for on this one is just for texture. This one is going to take a little longer because it's a little thicker. Should go clear. I'm actually going to lift that up so that it'll heat up a little bit better. Okay, you can see where it's thinner, it's starting to turn transparent. I think this is going to take forever to dry, so what I'm going to do is I am going to take my wood tool that I have here still, and I'm going to take the other end. There is a little end that's kind of like a little comb. You can kind of see here, just like a silicone. Okay, so that's already dry, so I can't actually move it. There we go. Get some of that thinned out so we can get this dry. Okay. Still tacky. So again, mixed media, you know, you need time for your drying, you need time for your, it's just kind of a relaxed, do whatever you have, use whatever you have. Whatever you do goes, basically, with mixed media. Okay, so then we're going to take a stencil. I am going to take this stencil from All and Create, and I'm going to use kind of this, I don't know, bubbles or stone look. I'm going to put some of that on there. And I'm going to do that in the texture paste again. I forgot to wipe off my spatula. There we go. Alright, so back into the texture paste. And let's see here. Maybe I'll kind of do a little bit of both here, like this. Okay. So we're going to get our texture paste. Again, this does not need to be super thick, but we do want some texture. I'm just going to fill it in. Does not have to be perfect. Lift my stencil. Rub off that straight line because I don't want that straight line on there. Give my edge a little bit of a clean. This won't take long to dry. Give it a quick dry. You could use the crackle paste here and then it would crackle. That actually would look really good. Again, if you don't have certain pastes, use what you have. Anything goes. And then he uses some type of an ink or something in his video, which I don't have. So what I'm going to use to help kind of color this, kind of like I did here, is I am going to use, I'm just going to use my Distress ink pads. I have the cubes. I am going to use, I think Vintage Photo. I like the coloring of that up against this rice paper. And I'm literally just going to smush some on my work surface here. I'm just going to take just a little paintbrush, get some water on it. Be a little bit more water. Okay, and all we're going to do, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to paint it over. I'm going to paint it over everything. It's going to help show the texture of that gloss. And to me that went a little bit, actually it looks good, but on my end it looks a little orange. So I'm actually going to go to Gathered Twigs this time. Add a little bit of that in. Just go over it again. So that toned down the white of that paste. And if you see here, it's accented those grooves. It's sunken into the grooves. Okay. So we're going to do that. Give it a dry. And then again, we are going to use the stencil brush and the ivory paint again. Put a small dab there. Just a dab will do ya. Get my little stencil brush again. Again, it's dry. Dab into it. I kind of just pounce it a little bit. And we're going to just brush over top. Okay. So just a light brush. It's going to catch on to the different pieces. If you find that's a little bit too much, you can always wipe it with a baby wipe. I think that was a little bit much, so we'll just rub a little bit of that off. There you go. Okay, and then if you look here, right in here, you can really see how that brought out the grooves of the wood tool. Okay, it kind of lightened it up, it blended it in. Another thing that I would probably do with this, that he didn't necessarily do, that I think would add to it, is some paint splatter. So you could take your ivory paint and do some paint splattering on there. So those are days 1, 2, and 3 of the backgrounds from Antonius. Antinous, sorry, and I do not know how to say his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. But hopefully you all learned something tonight. Again, I do apologize. Next time I do this, I will try to have it where I will try to list a few supplies, and then you can play along with me, and we can maybe work on doing some all together. Okay, hope you enjoyed tonight's video. We'll see you again. I don't know if Heather and Dan are on tomorrow with some new items. I think so, maybe, maybe not. But I will see you all again in 2 weeks. Okay? Thanks for joining. Happy crafting, everyone. Thanks, Shannon.